good afternoon. Uh, After listening Franco, I can say we are you 10 years ago. Yeah, because in Brazil, we regulate, the biggest part of the agencies regulate just sanitation services, water and wastewater. And we have too much to learn here. At first, I would like to thank you, Fundación and Professor Franco Beck, for this wonderful opportunity to grow and the possibility to help my country with more knowledge, with this moment when we are looking for new ways to development, and that includes the strength of the regulation public services. We are, in this moment, we are changing. We don't have capacity to invest, and then the governments open the services for private participation. And the speech of President this weekend said, we need a strong regulation government because we can't do all of the things that we need to continue developing. And then I will talk specifically about sanitation regulation in Brazil. We are at 200 million people, inhabitants. Brazil is a federation which has 3 different levels of administration. On federal level, state level with 26 states, and municipalities with 5,564 municipalities. The responsible for providing the sanitation services is municipality. But we have a problem like you have in other countries. The biggest part of our municipalities are really small, and they don't have capacity, financial capacity or technical capacity to provide the service. Then, because of this, during the 70s, the central government stimulated the creation of state company, public companies to provide the service. And then today, the biggest part of the municipalities have are provided by these companies. 25% have a local services. They are biggest one, like my city, Joinville, have almost 5,000 people, and then we can provide the service by ourselves. Okay. In Brazil, sanitation is one of the biggest challenges. Official data says that in urban centers, 90% of the population have potable water service, and 40% have a sewage wastewater service. But this data is not so comfortable, because if you see Rio de Janeiro, for example, just 60% of the population have service water, adequate service water, because we have favelas and others, and it's very difficult to find a reliable data, and then it's a problem. We need to try to find these data exactly. But in a country so large as ours, the difference between regions, sanitation services, different regions, excuse me, the different regions, this data is not so important, because if you see Northeast, for example, you don't have. You have almost 50% of the people have water servicing, and this is one problem. Okay. In regulation, we have almost 47 agencies, and this continue growing. For example, let me see. Okay. I'll begin again. Regulation by agencies in Brazil is a new system. The first agency arose in 1995 to support the process of some public services like energy and telecommunication. Maybe it is one of the first problems to consolidate the system, because we did not have a regulation culture, and this idea born just solved the problems of a privatization. In biggest part of Brazilian history, the public services was provided by the state, and this state made a self-regulation. At that time, sanitation was not a service subject to privatization, mainly because of the difficulties related to titularity. For this reason, the sanitation agencies emerged just in 2000s, when Brazil began to understand the importance of regulation. In 2007, a new federal law was promulgated and began to show the direction of regulation in sanitation. This law defined clearly the titularity and municipality responsibility for the sanitation, and their responsibilities by the regulation too. But they can delegate this regulation to a state regulatory agency or a regional consortium agency, because the size of the municipalities and your capacity. The biggest part of them transfer the responsibilities to state agencies. The same problem that we have to provide the services you have in the regulation, because the biggest part of the cities don't have capacity to make this regulation, and then they transfer this responsibility to the state agencies. In Brazil, we last estimate showed 47 regulation agencies to the sanitation services, 23 state agencies, 21 local agencies, and 3 regional consortiums agencies. But these are responsible for only 30% of the municipalities. Many others are being created in this moment, because to access financial resources, the municipalities should be the services regulated. Perhaps the main contribution of the Turing School is to show us how it happens in Europe, if the directives of the European Union contribute to this process of standardization. We have one problem there, and all these agencies do what they think it's right. You don't have a right guidelines to be a good regulation, and this is a really great problem for us. And then, of course, problems like independence, information asymmetry, and capture turns the regulation much more difficult. But for us, in this moment, the regulation is the only way. We are the possibility countries, but we have many necessities too. The great part of the population is private of basic rights. Good regulations can guarantee the implementation of the policies, provide efficient management, and consequently more resources to investment and better services for all. We have a long way, but we need to regulate, or we never develop as we need. Okay, thanks.